Hello, it's Jo from Scrappy Happy. You can find me on Facebook, Scrappy Happy Jo. Today I'm going to make a quick card, which is this one, which is just using a combination of inks and a quick bit of Stampin. It's a very quick card to do, but quite effective because you can use it for any occasion. For the 3 different layers, the cardstock that I've used is basic black for the actual card itself, and I cut that short side at 4 3/16. And then the first layer, which is the creamy colour one, is 3 15/16 by 5 5/8. And then the top layer, which is in fact a piece of Whisper White here, that is 5 7/16 by 3 3/4. Okay, and all I use for sticking the cards down are these dimensionals, because I find if you do stick it down it's slightly out of line, you can just peel it off and put them back on again, and it adds a little bit of dimension to the card as well. Okay, so let's begin. So just with your Whisper White card, the stamp set that we're using today is one of my favourites, and it's the Wetlands stamp set. I use the sentiments quite a bit, but I also particularly like the little birds and this one. They're the two pieces we're going to use. So for doing the background, this is a really easy technique. There's all sorts of different inks you can use. There's distress inks, which I find work really well, but for the purpose of this, we're going to use the Stampin' Up! Ink pads, Sahara Sand, Lost Lagoon and Soft Sky. So I'll just open them. Okay, normally I start with the actual bottom section. Doesn't really matter, it's just we've all got a little ways of doing things. So using a sponge, or you can use a dabber for this, but I just like to use it quickly. So what I am going to do, because I am quite messy at this, is put heat resistant matte, which is great for inking on as well. So add a bit of ink, come off from the outside of the card, because it stops it making big splodges of colour. You have to excuse me filming this. The one day I decide to film, and when I actually have chance, it's actually started pouring down with rain and it's very grey outside, so I apologise if the lighting's not very good. Okay, so just keep using circular motions off the page and then into it. I don't quite do a half, I normally do a bigger section of blue because it's the actual water with a little bit of sky as well. So the 2 blue colours that I've used are Lost Lagoon and Soft Sky. So if I do a bit of the Lost Lagoon to start off with, go off from the edge. It doesn't matter how hard you apply the colour, because it will just, I find it doesn't matter which card I do, it always does them slightly different. Okay, and then the Soft Sky, check I've got the right ink pad, I've done that a few times. And just come in from that side. So all you're doing is applying ink from an outer edge and just in circular motions. This works quite well with the dabbers, or you can use, I mean, you could use watercolour pencils if you do this on a watercolour paper. I just find this is a really quick way of doing it. So I'm just going to add a little bit more to try and mix the 2 up. And I thought the colours were quite suitable, as it is a rainy, miserable day. You've got quite dark colours on the card. Sort of sums up the day, really. So using the small bird stamp, so I've done a kind of mixture of colours for the background. See, on that one it is slightly different. It really does depend on how much ink you want to add. Okay, so taking the little birds, what I normally do is try and put the bottom piece here, just so it just touches the brown. Oh, knocking the camera, sorry about that. And there we go, there's the birds. And then using the leafy type, there obviously is a technical name for that, reeds maybe, just to add one to the side. Another one there, and then what I like to do is just add a couple peeping out. It's as if you're peeping through this to see the birds. Okay, and that is all you need to do for the stamping and the inking. And then just add a couple of dimensionals to the card. Take the backs off. And then I'm just using a piece of crumb cake, which is different to the actual ink I've used on the card. It just does a slight alteration on the colour, which I quite like. Okay, and then just layer the stamped image on there. And then I get your piece of black cardstock, which has been folded in half. Take the backs off. It's always the fiddly bit. Okay, and that's your dimensional card. What I like to do on this, which you probably can't see because the light's not good today, there is some dazzling details that I've just added to where the birds are. So I just put a few little blobs there. You can see them just slightly there. Just gives a bit more dimension to it. Okay, so that's a really quick card to make using the Stampin' Up! Wetlands stamp set. Still a cheerful card on a rainy day. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and feel free to like my Facebook page, Scrappy Happy Jo, and all being well, I should have another video next week. Take care, bye.